The National STOL Series is presented by Vlad Gardner Aviation Insurance. For all your insurance needs, aviation protected. Legend Aircraft, not your grandfather's Cub. Duke Propellers, offering a wide variety of carbon-made propellers and rotors. AirTech Coatings, let us show you how we make paint fly. USATrailersDirect.com, find your perfect trailer, we have it all. Your #1 source for trailers in the United States. Sarasota Avionics and Maintenance, the #1 aircraft avionics installer in the nation. Lift Aviation, leading innovation in aviation apparel and equipment. Rugged Radios, the official communications provider of National STOL. FlightHelmet.com, fly with safety and comfort, leave the noise behind. McFarlane Aviation Products, thousands of parts, save thousands of dollars. Flight Outfitters, for all your National STOL gear and apparel. Flying Eyes, specialized sunglasses for pilots, eye pilots. Special thanks to local community sponsors, Jeff Davis Parish Tourist Commission, Coushatta Tribe, ETR Jet Center, Avi Nation, Dispatch Aviation. And now, live from Jennings, Louisiana, here's your host, Ryan Dembrowski and Colonel Matthew Peterson. Welcome to Swamp STOL.
Welcome to Swamp STOL 2023. I'm Ryan Dembrowski.
And I'm Colonel Matthew Peterson.
The Colonel's here. We're back again. Yes. Very different from the first time. Yeah, let's high five about it. Very different from the first time I was here. It was a little hot. Now look, I'm in 3 layers. And I'm still cold, folks.
I don't mean to brag, but you notice I've got a very nice jacket here. I'm just going to give a little shout out.
You're looking good today. I'm looking a little underprepared for being a Wisconsinite. But yeah, we're here. Swamp STOL 2023, Swamp STOL Trois. So let's talk a little bit about how this works. So we talk a lot about spot landing competitions. That's something that pilots do. They have spot landing competitions. You go to your home airport, you fly a little bit, and land as close as you can to a line. People measure how far you land. You don't have to stop. You just roll through. That's cool, and that's what I do at my home airport. But this is that turned up to like 100.
Yes.
So tell you what, why don't we split it in half? I'll do the takeoff part, and then you tell me the landing part. So the takeoff part is a little easier. That's why I took it. Competitors will taxi up to that white line you see. See where the national STOL flags are. They'll taxi up to that white line, wait for the go-ahead from the line judge. The air bosses say, yep, go ahead. You'll hear a roar of throttle. It'll be very exciting.
All of
the
throttle.
All of it.
You're putting it to the firewall.
The pilots will then commence takeoff, and the goal is to take off as short as possible. That's why it's short, takeoff, and landing. Line judges and cameras will assess the distance from when those main wheels leave the ground, and then they'll enter the traffic pattern, coming back to do the landing.
That's right. In that traffic pattern, we decided at the safety meeting that 500 feet would be our maximum altitude. You'll see most of the pilots hanging out around 300 feet. Always with safety in mind, their left-hand pattern out of the grass strip, staying over the runway at all times so that we don't fly over the great city of Jennings, which I just can't say enough good things about. You can hear more about that later on the broadcast. Then they make their left-hand turn, and you use the words commence. I like that. They commence to taking off. Well, when they make that base to final, they'll come in and they'll commence to landing. And the goal, ladies and gentlemen, is to, 1, not scratch. If they land short of the line, it is a scratch. And you will see Lexi Duncan, our line judge, and she'll put her arms like this.
Yep, she's just getting in position right now, getting ready.
Right. So that would be a scratch, and you'll see her do that. And then the crowd's going to go, oh, and everybody will be very disappointed. That score won't count. But if they land on the line or just past it, they slam on the brakes, stop that aircraft as fast as they can. I don't think anybody here has a beta prop, so nobody's going to be reversing the thrust on their prop, but they're going to have to use just the brakes and stop as soon as they can And then the judges, the line judges, are all volunteer line judges, are going to measure that distance, and that's their second score.
And we add those together.
You add those together, that's your total score. Now of course, and Ryan and I talk about this all the time. There's a lot of mental game that goes on here, because if you scratch, your first score doesn't count. So Ryan, if you make a great takeoff and you scratch,
no go.
No go.
And here's
it doesn't
the thing.
matter.
Every pilot scratches. Even you're going to see at the unlimited class towards the end of the day, those greats, those legends of STOL. And there's legends of STOL in every class.
So we do have some highlights from yesterday. Do we want to take a look at some of that?
Let's check out some highlights from yesterday. Everyone get pumped. Stay warm. The more energized you are in the crowd, the warmer you will be. Let's roll this video.
This is the first National STOL event. I vowed I would never compete. I'm like, it's not for me. And I still say I'm not competing. I'm in the rookie class, just the most laid back class. There's no regulation on what kind of plane you have or anything else.
So the touring class, it used to be just touring airplanes, and now that we've switched around the classes, because the 170Bs would always win. So they ended up putting us in the Bush class, which it's a touring airplane, and the word has it Austin Clemens isn't coming. There's a Super 170s in his class, because he was pretty scared about the Bs.
My name is Sean Johnson, flying National STOL competition in the Bush class.
My name is Justin Tisdale. I'm flying a Zenith 750, flying in the Spark class. My dad and I would always go to events and things like that, and I would always look up and just see people flying. And for me, it was something that I dreamed of doing. It's something that he dreamed of doing. We grew up like kind of poorish, and he was a cop and couldn't really afford to do that kind of stuff. So after I got out of the military, I started looking at aviation. I was like, man, I think I could do that. Wound up completing that dream of his and mine to become a pilot. And anyone can do it. I know if I can do it, other people can do it.
You know, I'm going to be in this new class, the Bush class, so I think that's pretty awesome that they think that these bigger four-seater airplanes can compete against these planes that are 3 times the price.
And we are back in Jennings, Louisiana for Swamp STOL 3, Swamp STOL 2, here for National STOL Season 2023. It's time for the Unlimited class. I'm putting my epic announcer voice on because it is gonna be epic. You've got Dan Reynolds in the 1983 Chinook Valdez edition, Steve Henry in his Wild West aircraft. It's Yeehaw 8. You just heard Josh from his crew, Josh Richling, his crew chief, explaining to us some of the changes today. You're going to see those small knobby tires. They're going to see how that works. The other thing you're going to see, look at the differences of the aircraft. The nose, significantly smaller. They've actually shifted to a 3-cylinder engine with a turbo. There's no turbo leg on it. They've been talking a lot about that. And the other thing that you'll see is notice all of the extra pieces of plexi, all the extra pieces of window to help Steve see the line through, kind of like through that downward angle you can see by his feet. That's all new too. So
like a helicopter.
Like a helicopter. Now it's interesting because look in front of him at the Chinook. We've had that described, I think, as like a glass house, right? It's like also like a helicopter. Lots of visibility up there for Dan. And this is kind of the grudge match of the weekend. Let's be real. You've got the only person in that Chinook to unseat Steve Henry.
That's right. Steve being the national champion last year. And here's Dan Reynolds come down from Canada with his family and to compete against Steve and see if he can't unseat him. Now, I think Dan's got nitrous oxide in here. We'll see if he feels he needs to use it. He had a great practice yesterday. That was on the National STOL sites.
Get your phones out, everybody. I see a lot of them out already.
Lexi's got him out on the line. Drone in place. We're ready. He's about to throttle it up. And there he goes, about 30 feet.
It's not even real.
It's about
That's
30 feet.
Not even real.
Wow.
What do you
Ladies
call
and
it,
gentlemen.
40 feet maybe? 35,
Oh, no.
40 feet?
No, not 40. Not 40. He's off way before 40.
So
once again.
want to talk about, we were talking about the thing in Dubai.
Yes.
The thing, like these are airplanes that could land and take off twice.
In what they did, yes.
Here's Steve Henry now with the knobby tires picking up some mud as he gets up to the line.
He's going to need those knobby tires to hold in all that horsepower. Josh never gave us a horsepower, did he? You couldn't get a horsepower out of him. Oh.
Whoa!
What just happened? What just happened? Ladies and gentlemen, the Yeehaw 8. What just happened?
I don't even. Let's watch
I'm
the
confused.
replay. That looked to me like a 10-foot takeoff. I have no idea what the judges
We got to
are going
wait
to
for the
call it.
scores to come in, folks.
That was like a really
the radio
short takeoff.
man is radioing them back to the production facility right here to our right, the very bougie production facility. And we'll get in. I'm sorry for laughing, folks. I'm just so excited. We're going to get those scores back here in just a minute and let you know what the actual numbers are. Wow.
We should talk about this class real briefly while Dan comes in on final. This is the first competition for the unlimited class.
That's
it's basically your no holds barred, any pilot, any plane, any modification. You think you can beat it, bring it. The only real difference is that you'll see is that the competitors now, they're taking off so short. We need lines on their tires, Mark. You'll see that's why that's on the tires, so that we can help judge the rotation of the tires to estimate distance, and also some additional safety benefits happening here.
Dan's picking up a little chop here. You can see him on those. You can see him on those pedals. Oh.
She's calling it a scratch.
Calling it a
Stopped
scratch.
less than 25 feet.
So he had a good stop, but just a little bit. Now, of course, he doesn't have to worry about a prop strike. That is the one definite advantage that Dan Reynolds is looking at here. Prop strikes just aren't a thing.
But
in a Chinook.
But the other thing you need to think about is, as a pusher, it is a scratch. We're really seeing the replay here.
Looking at the replay now, folks, we can see that that's a scratch. Now, here comes Steve Henry dragging it in. Of course, with that 3-cylinder Yamaha, he's got lots and lots of power. Here comes the nose up.
And a scratch as well for Steve Henry.
Hard scratch, and he's not even going to stop. He's just going to go. He's got mad.
Kicking up the dirt. I'm excited to see the replay on that one. Here he comes in on the replay.
So we have talked about the psychological effect here. Now, these are both experienced competitors, folks. These are experienced competitors who are out there, in their aircraft all the time with thousands of hours, like Josh just said. All right. Even in this new plane, Steve Henry has over 900 landings in that plane that he just finished building. All right. So these two are top competitors, and even the top competitors scratch.
Yeah, everyone can scratch, and that's why it's so exciting, because you're always just one scratch away from a different place. Notice this. I can see it on the camera, right? They're not lining up exactly on with the runway.
Coming down.
There we go. 26,
nice.
20, maybe 30 feet?
Not much. Not much at all.
So they're cheating into the wind is what I'm trying to say. They're cheating into the wind
Whenever
to get every ounce of headwind they can to help their takeoff distance.
Exactly right. You notice, Steve, it's amazing. I can't even describe what I'm looking at here today, folks. I feel like if I were talking to you on radio, but I know you can see this live on YouTube. Watch this take off.
Oh, man. That is unreal.
I'm speechless, and my wife can tell you that is a rare thing. Unbelievable.
Let's watch that again. To me, honestly, it almost looked like a 0-foot takeoff from here.
That is insane. That is
maybe 10 feet, let's call it. We'll see what the judges say.
Insane. Both of them DQ'd, folks, so we won't get any scores.
On the previous run.
If you DQ, the scores don't come up on the sheet. And so we can't tell you how well they did, but I think you can see with your own eyes, both here in person and if you can see what they're doing here. I think those tiny tires only rolled twice. I think they only turned over twice.
It's like, what is the circumference of those tires? 6 inches?
Not much.
That's a joke.
That is
all right, Dan Reynolds
ridiculous.
now floating it in hovercraft mode.
Okay, so he's nice and high. Now he's got to get that nose up and make it plop.
Floating it down, floating it down, floating it down.
There he goes.
Stopped. Okay.
Okay, so here we are. How crazy is it that we're looking at about a 35-foot landing going, oh, okay, that was okay.
He could land on the top of a skyscraper.
He could land on the top of a pickup truck. It's just ridiculous. So now he's got one in the books. Now he's solid. He's got one in the books in the unlimited class. And
look at Steve Henry putting in work now. He's down low and fighting these gusts.
And you can see that. You can see the tail kind of whipping around, and it coming up high and going to hit hard. Dig in.
Those knobby tires
Did
seem
you
like
see
they're
the knobby
working.
Tires grip?
They're gripping in.
So we were wondering, ladies and gentlemen, if the knobby tires were going to work. I believe our question has been answered. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, if you come here and you compete and you win in your class, you get, there's prizes, there's trophies.
Look at that.
Behold.
Here,
I don't want to hold
it. It's your
it.
event. Let me Vanna White it.
There you go.
Oh, wait, I got to hold it here.
Gotta hold it up.
Clear.
Had something behind it. Also, special only to Swamp STOL. I love that. When you come to Swamp STOL, you get a great big Mardi Gras medallion with some Mardi Gras beads on them. All right.
That's what we're competing for, in addition to a number of prizes for the competitors. Here's Dan now, getting ready for run 3. In the standings right now, Steve Henry, first place, 63 feet combined. His first and second takeoff, 16 and 15 feet respectively. Dan Reynolds, 77 feet. Off at 26 feet, maybe?
With a little bounce.
That is insanity.
He just had a little bounce. That's all it was.
And Steve Henry now coming to the line in Yeehaw 8. You heard Josh say something kind of crazy. He said he's only got like 800 or 900 landings, and he's not comfortable yet.
He's not comfortable in it with 900 landings. That's the kind of work this guy puts in, y'all. And what you got to understand is he puts the work in the aircraft, getting it dialed in, getting it feeling right. He's winding up that turbo. Off he goes.
Now, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the event that's like a drag race.
Are you guys having fun over there?
Woo,
all right.
Yeah,
this
all
is
right.
something else.
That's what I'm talking about.
By the way, speaking of having fun, you can buy National STOL merch at the table back behind
That's
this
right.
here.
We have National STOL merch at the table. And
come check that out after these landings.
It won't be long, I'm sure. All right. And right after this, folks, don't go away. Get you something to eat. There's a meet and greet with the pilots. All the pilots will be out standing by the airplanes. You'll be able to come out of our kind of little cantonment area that we're trying to keep everybody in for their safety, and you'll be able to just walk right up to the pilots and talk to them. All the pilots will be out by their planes, and you'll be able to just go out and mingle.
Yeah, grab a bite to eat, talk to the pilots, meet and greet. Maybe they got some.
Oh, they got.
I got some stickers. I'm not a pilot in the competition, but I got stickers.
And they've got Gator on a stick. There's Gator on a stick.
Gator on a stick. You got to get it. So do that, and then we'll be back to do it all over again this afternoon.
That's right. After the lunch break, everybody gets another run. They get another chance at redemption. You get to redeem yourself if you scratched and maybe improve your scores. I know everybody's going to be gunning for Jeff Pohl in that Bush class.
Here's Dan Reynolds now. It's just
looking great.
Poetry in motion.
Looking great. He's just floating down slowly. Powers out.
Oh,
plane is down.
Jeez,
that's pretty darn good, y'all.
Like, I don't even know how to react to it. Like it's visceral. It's a visceral body reaction in my body when he brings that thing in.
That is really good. Now, I want you to notice they improved their scores. Okay, so Dan Reynolds' first landing that counted was 77 feet, and this one is definitely less than 50. When that says.
No, that's total. His total was 77.
Total 77.
Here's Steve Henry now hanging it on the prop.
Got that
putting that tail
up?
down right on the line.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
That was just bonkers.
Got to be kidding me. That was incredible. Way to go, Steve Henry.
I think Steve really took it to heart when Dan beat him that one time.
He
was like, guess what, buddy? I'm coming back.
Yeah, he did not like that. He did not like that at all.
We've
So
got
we're
like
back here on the
100 pilots
instant
waiting to
replay.
see what the score updates are.
We're on the instant replay. It is definitely good.
That was bonkers.
Definitely good. He landed, folks, about 6 inches past the white line on the scratch line. You can't beat that with a stick.
So let's put it. We've got the unofficial results now for this first heat of the unlimited class today at Swamp STOL. Steve Henry, 35 feet with a takeoff of 13 feet. Dan Reynolds with a takeoff, best takeoff of 35 feet, 77 feet, which is also insane. Let's go back then. We were talking a little bit about day one, because every one of these events is a bit of an adventure for all the competitors and all of the people who come and help put it on. Just countless people that put this event on. And so day one, I think we have a video package we can roll that shows a little bit about how day one kicked off earlier this week.
We do, and I want to bring this up. This is something that's really important to all of us at National STOL. We come from adventure flying, right? We come from backcountry playgrounds, and we found that there was an opportunity to take that to the public at an airport like this. But that doesn't mean that the adventure flying stopped, right? A bunch of our pilots got together and they said, let's go fly to a beach that's never been flown to before. Check it out, guys. Roll the tape for the pilots adventuring together.
Folks, we are back here at
And once again,
Janesville.
folks, we should be good and clear now. Thanks to everybody for coming out today. Just can't thank you enough for supporting the Jennings Airport, Swamp STOL, the National STOL Series. Huge thanks to Jeff Davis Parish Tourism, the City of Jennings writ large, the Mayor's Office. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I missed anybody. And, of course, always the Coshada Tribe of Louisiana, who sponsored last night the Bernie Allen Band at the multi-use building down in Jennings that the city was kind enough to get us into. thank you all so much for all your help putting this on. It's been great fun, and we'll talk later about pre-planning for Swamp STOL 4.
Cat?
Cat, un, deux, trois, quatre. Swamp STOL.
Took a little French in college.
Cat. Kind of sounds like cat. Like maybe we should cat theme it. I don't know.
Everyone's phones are out. This is what they came to
Here
see.
we go.
Dan
Here goes
Reynolds
Dan
on
Reynolds.
the line.
He got beat last time, but he's looking for bragging rights here.
There
Nice.
we go.
Off in Fitty. I wonder if he's using his nitrous. So you got to wonder, is he using his nitrous? Is he holding back? I believe these two pilots, Steve and Dan, are going to meet each other down at Sun and Fun again shortly. And I didn't think about this. The knobby tires also help hold all of that power.
There he goes.
Two rolls. So we got Mr. Russ Keith of Airplanes and Coffee out there getting the measurements, a veteran judge. So they're out there. You'll notice everybody, the day is over. All the judges are down there towards the front.
Micah saw it. It's over like 125, 150 feet somewhere.
All right. So, folks, as they're coming around here, Dan's already on approach. Steve cutting the pattern short, keeping it nice and tight. No need to go up that high. No need to go out that far. You don't need a... Ooh, Dan's coming in high. Is he going around? So, folks, we're gonna keep them up in the pattern for just a minute. We think we might have a little something out on the field at 125. On the 125 foot mark.
See where it landed? Yeah. Can you point to him for it? Micah can get it if you're cool with it.
Hold on, looks like Andrew's going to get out and get it. Good job, guys. Great job by the judges. They're kind of hopping out there. And we're having a quick FOD check. Steve is now powering up for his go-around. Quick FOD check. Nope, he's got it. We're good. And we're coming back around. Air bosses are in control. Steve's going to cut his pattern short under the control of the air bosses.
I gotta point out, did you hear how awesome Steve's plane sounded just then?
It
yeah,
really
right?
did.
Everybody
heard it.
Sounded cool.
We heard it.
Sounded angry. I like that.
That 3-cylinder. And, you know, this is going to sound kind of odd. From what I understand, a 3-cylinder makes less vibration than a 4-cylinder, which is an interesting design feature.
So I think we're just going to be hanging out while they continue to do that FOD check
Just a quick FOD check. Not that they ever use that part of the runway. They don't use that part of the runway. Also a quick SOD check. We're tamping down some divots. Oh, this kind of reminds me of, when they play horse polo at the break in the polo. They all go out and flip over the divots that the horse's hooves have made. And so they're all wandering around. Just a quick FOD check.
I saw the item in question. It was small and black, so I'm sure it'll be really easy to find.
Would you think it was his flying eyes case?
His glasses
Was
case?
it as he wears flying eyes? Steve Henry wears. Okay, you see now Anitra's getting everybody organized out there. I think
they're going to do it old Navy style.
Nope. They're going to do it Navy style. They're going to make a line. We're going to have a FOD check. Look at her. Look at Anitra out there. The STOL Queen is out there commanding her subjects. Great job, STOL Queen. And there they're making a quick FOD walk. Quick FOD walk down the runway. If they find it, they find it. If they don't, it's probably not an issue because Steve and Dan never use that part of the runway anyway. They'll never be down there except just to taxi through. So if you look up to your left, you'll see what happens, like when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object. You're looking at the two slowest flyers on the entire National STOL series orbiting each other at probably about 25 miles an hour. At probably about 20. So as they circle there to the left at 25 miles an hour, They're talking to each other on the radio, probably cracking jokes. Probably cracking jokes with the air bosses. Everybody's probably having a good laugh. They were having a good laugh, folks, because we all know that neither one of those pilots uses that portion of the runway. It could have. Absolutely could have been a chuck of mud. So
Yeah, we were just saying that. Maybe.
The general consensus here in the booth, folks, is that we might be
looking
saw
for a chunk of
something
mud.
Fly off of Steve's plane. We think it may have just been a bit of mud. We got lots of that. There's a good bit of mud still out there on the still a good bit of mud out there on the runway. Swamp STOL earning its name this year. So here comes Dan Reynolds, nice and high and slow. Steve Henry did a few 360s down there in the back just to give him good separation. Once again, taking safety into account. Always a priority with the National STOL Series. I could go get a Coke while we're waiting on Dan if you want something?
Yeah, I would
I'm
love
gonna go
a
to
Coke,
McDonald's maybe. No, I'm gonna go over to Miss Marilyn's food truck, maybe get some fried alligator and come back.
More fried alligator. I still didn't get to try
man,
that.
I'm telling
All
you,
right,
fried
everyone,
alligator.
get your phones out. Here we go. We've seen this plane literally land in less feet than it is long.
And that's what he's going to have to do today to take away any kind of title from Steve Henry. You can see Dan, he's got his eyes on the finish line. About 51 feet.
We're talking to the Wild West aircraft team, and they were saying there's some really interesting things about Dan's airplane because they're keeping close tabs on what he's doing. They want to remain competitive against him. And one of the things they said that is interesting is while he doesn't have to worry about prop strike, things like that, he has a bit of a delay in his power application because of the pusher configuration. And he also, when he applies power, there's a nose down moment.
That's right.
That he has to counteract. So I think it's one of those things you just get used to it as you fly it more. But it is a difference compared to where they feel especially competitive. In this case, the instant turbo, that 3-cylinder has no turbo lag.
That's right.
And they're in a traditional configuration.
Listen to him punch that throttle.
Right on the line.
How could he be mad about that? He didn't stop and get his score. He may have gotten a score, actually. Did she? We're going back to the instant replay on this one, folks. How about that? Oh, he's smiling. He knows he's got his scores in the books. This is friendly competition for bragging rights now, folks.
So let's set the stage. If you weren't here this morning, a thing to remind you of that Steve is generally undefeated, I think, except for
Dan Reynolds.
Well,
and that's why. And that's why. Okay, there's the takeoff. That's the one. Now he needs to pair that with a good landing, and Steve's got something to worry about. Steven. I'm the only one who calls him Steven. Yeah, Steve's got something to worry about. If Dan can pair that takeoff with a hot landing. Here he goes.
Oh man!
Good gravy.
God.
Okay, folks, I don't know what to say. I've been on the STOL series now for 3 years. I've lost count of how many times I've been an announcer for STOL, and I'm speechless. That's incredible.
That was something else. Here's Dan Reynolds, by
What
the
are we
way.
supposed to say about that?
I
as
don't know what you
announcers?
say about that. You say like, "Whoa, that's a thing that happened."
I mean, the internet is listening.
Yes.
What should we say?
Very intense. That thing that just happened.
You should need to see it in person, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm going to tell you.
There's
if
something-
you think this is neat on YouTube, and I'm not saying it's not, it is super cool to watch on YouTube, especially for everybody in Italy and Germany and in Brazil who are watching this now. Appreciate you guys and your support of STOL. I know it's a run to get to a Husky National STOL Series event, but you got to see it in person to really understand what it is. Come on.
Right on the line,
Right
heavy on the brakes.
money. There,
25 feet?
That's the one
Oh,
he's
no,
looking
it's a little bit
for.
more. Maybe 30 feet?
That's the one. That's a good landing. That's a great landing to pair with that great takeoff he had. Outstanding. Outstanding. He's only got one more to go now. Steve coming in kind of fast. Got a lot of. He's got a little pepper on it, bringing it in.
Here comes Steve now on the left. Listen to that 3-cylinder unique sound.
Look at that nose high.
Hear the
nose high
turbo?
attitude.
Come on, Steve.
Stomping on it.
Nice.
Okay, so he was longer than Dan on the landing, but shorter than Dan on the takeoff. So there it is. So although you do take off for show and land for dough, I think when you have an engine as awesome as the one Steve is running, you might be able to take off for dough. And you got to know how to handle an aircraft like that and build an aircraft and land it 900 times before its debut. That is a staggering number.
I want to talk about the scores where they were this morning and where they are now. So this morning in competition, we had Steve Henry with a best combined score of a jaw-dropping 35 feet. And Dan Reynolds was 77 feet, which on its own is insane. Here's Dan Reynolds again, churning the butter to get it in the air.
There
Wow.
you go. That's a hard twist. Excellent. He got that nose down, got that tail way up in the air, and really slung it back.
So here's the thing I want to talk about. That was a 25-foot takeoff, by the way, just there. Dan Reynolds' best score today so far was his last run, 65 feet. Steve's...
Here you go. Up. Hold on.
Oh, man.
Two rolls of the wheels.
10 feet? 10, 15
Let's take off
feet?
5. Let's wait for the score to come in. Take off 6. 14 feet. That's a 14-foot takeoff, ladies and gentlemen.
His best takeoff of this competition has been 13 feet. In Yeehaw 6,
13
I saw
foot
him do 6 feet
takeoff.
once.
13-foot takeoff. That is insane. Okay, well, here they come around.
So my point being was just that even though Steve took the morning with 35 feet, he's got a lot of runs in that 50 to 60 range, and guess who else has a lot of runs in the 50 to 60 range? This guy on short final right now.
Right here, Dan Reynolds. The only person in the world that is giving him serious competition. And I think that's why they're such good friends. You know, game, no game.
Yeah.
And here he goes.
Boom.
Come on, get on it, Dan. Honestly, I think that's why, you know, you see the two of them always eating dinner together and hanging out and talking, obviously, about airplanes. And I think that's why they're such good friends, because, you know, in the world, there are those two pilots, you know, who can give each other that kind of competition, who are here today. Now, competing in their class but not able to make it, Mr. Hal Stockman, the most popular man on the internet who's not on the internet. And here we go. Steve Henry coming in, getting that nose up, chopping the power.
Oh,
30 feet.
dang. That's a Dan Reynolds-like landing.
That was great.
I cannot wait to see these two just battle it out the rest of the season.
That was
That's just intense.
Outstanding. So, Ryan, that was our last run of the day, was it not?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if I'm ready for it to be over, man.
I'm not ready for it to be over. But I believe it is time for us to wrap it up.
Man, what a day. What a day here in Jennings, Louisiana. We saw a lot of hard, heavy competition. We saw the American Legend class. We saw which is the adventure class. We saw the 170 battle to end all 170 battles.
That's right.
And then we saw the unlimited class, which was super intense. We're hearing in my ear right now, I think we're going to go through all the results of the day. So first, touring class. best run of the day, Brandon Korn in first place. Second place, Jeff Abrams with 442 and Don Mickey with 442. I'm guessing that these are the total numbers from all day, not the official results.
These are the best runs of the day.
445 for Clayton Stansel.
So Clayton and Don finished within 3 feet of each other.
In the same plane.
In the exact same plane.
So they must be the same quality of pilot. So that's great.
That's looking at a lot of it.
That's touring class. Next up, Bush class. Now we've got the top 6 in Bush class from the best runs of the day. Jeff Pohl, a mind-blowing 145 feet in a Cessna 170. Micah Lindstrom right behind him with 151. The teacher and the student and all that sort of stuff. Just behind him, 156 for Sean Johnson, 243. That's John Luton in the Aviat Husky. Another Husky right behind him, Adam Plunkett, 257. Jeff Daly, 271 feet combined.
What I'd like you to notice now is that between first place and third place, 9 feet? Yes.
11 feet.
11 feet.
11 feet. 11-foot difference between those.
11-foot difference between
170s.
Can you imagine that? That is amazing. That is great competition.
I was so excited. It's so intense.
Great competition.
Next up, we've got the adventure class. Moving over to the adventure class, a.k.a. this weekend at least, the legend aircraft class. Luke Spohr, first place with 88 feet. Brian Steck with the afternoon popped up. Actually, no, they all moved around a little bit with the afternoon's runs. The best runs of the day: 88 feet for Luke Spohr, 103 for Brian Steck, and 134 for Colin Kaniva. This morning, those results were a little bit different for the actual series results.
A quick talk back to the box, Tom. I noticed that these are the scores with all 6 scores. Are only the first 3 scores going to count for the Husky National STOL Series? For the National STOL Series, the first 3 are what are going to determine.
First 3 found today this morning will be what counts for the National Series, the championships.
Got it.
Okay, now let's move over to sport class.
Just want to make that clear to the folks at home because it was not clear to me.
For the sport class, Rick Boardman, best run of the day, 114. Christian Griwan, 208. And Justin Tisdale, the newcomer to that class, 462 in his Zenith 750. And you just saw it, but let's go back to it again. Unlimited class. The grudge match to end all grudge matches. Steve Henry, 35 feet, his best run of the day. That's shorter than an F-14 Tomcat is nose to tail. He took off and landed shorter than an F-14 Tomcat. Dan Reynolds, just a little bit longer than an F-14 Tomcat, with 65 feet combined for his best run of the day.
Which is less than half the width of a helicopter pad.
Correct. Steve Henry should go fly that thing to Dubai.
And land on a helicopter pad.
Let's go do that. He could do that. So that's how it's wrapping up here at Swamp STOL 3. Very exciting to be here. Matt, thanks so much for having me. Really
Ryan,
appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Hope to see you next year.
Yeah.
At Swamp STOL Cat
4. I will be there.
4?
It's going to be so great. We'll see what happens in weather. I've had a really hot Swamp STOL. I've had a really cold Swamp STOL. Maybe next time it'll be Goldilocks and I'll be right in the middle.
That would just be wonderful.
We got to thank... Yeah, we'll get snow next time is what they're saying in our ears. I wanted to thank our sponsors real quick because there's a lot of people that help us make this happen. Actually, before the sponsors, let's hop in line. The volunteers. There are tons of volunteers behind us who are making all of this happen, setting up tents, setting up flags, making sure people are safe behind us, all of that. So thank you so much for the volunteers and our sponsors. Let's go through them one last time. U.S. Trailers Direct, AirTech Coatings, Legend Aircraft, Lift Aviation, Ladd Gardner Aviation Insurance, Duke Propeller, FlightHelmet.com, Rugged Radios, Sarasota Avionics, Flight Outfitters, Flying Eyes, and then for Swamp STOL, BTR, McFarland Aviation and MT Propeller, Dispatch Aviation, the Jeff Davis Parish Tourism Commission, that's a lot of syllables, and the Coshada Tribe. All these people, including the volunteers, the staff at National STOL, made this all happen, and the most important person who made this happen was you at home and you in the stands. We can't thank you enough for being here and be a part of this, especially on what turned out to be a little breezy, a little chilly day in Jennings, Louisiana.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Check Matt out on the socials. He's always doing crazy stuff. Check me out on the socials. Super Arrow. Check me out. I've got an interview show on YouTube, all that stuff. You can see even more aviation nerd stuff between the two of us. We don't just only do this, we do other stuff. Hit us up. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Fly safe. We'll see you in a month.